What's up, everybody? Welcome to Philly with Jon Marks, presented by Bet Parks and Central City Toyota. Good morning. If you're watching live on a Wednesday, a cold Wednesday, everybody out there, our mad chatters that are watching live on YouTube, getting involved in the program as we build a community of thousands or tens or hundreds that watch live every morning on YouTube. Good morning, everybody. And remember, you can always watch on YouTube. Doesn't have to be live. At your convenience. Boom. Audio podcast listeners. Every day the podcast goes up. You can listen to the show. Search Philly with Jon Marks. And also leave 5-star reviews. If you don't like the show, don't be honest. Just don't review it. 5-star reviews only. A lot to talk about today. The vile Eagles fan has been fired, but the onion just keep peeling back the onion of this story because that the Packers fan is also very complicated that was involved in it. That's coming up. Black Gritty is going to join us on the program coming up here in a couple of minutes. But like last night, it was almost like a grilled cheese sandwich and some tomato soup, or a nice warm hot cocoa with 3 or 4 marshmallows in it. Nice snuggly blanket while you're watching a TV show on the couch, and it's like 72 degrees. The heat's up to 72 degrees in your house, and man, it's cold right now outside. But I was late I was busy. I probably wouldn't even watch the 76ers game last night. And then I saw on social media, it might have been Jamie Lynch's tweet where it's like, oh, the process 76ers are back. And it's like, well, what's going on? What does that mean? I knew they were playing OKC last night. So about an hour before the game, the Sixers announced that Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Caleb Martin would all miss the game because of injuries. Maxey has a sprained left hand, George has right ankle soreness, and Martin right groin soreness. That's in addition to Joel Embiid, who's now missed 5 straight games with his sprained left foot. Andre Drummond, sprained left toe. Kyle Lowry, sprained right hip. KJ Martin, left foot stress reaction. And we know John McClain's out for the rest of the season. So, like, you have that many guys out. Who do you play? It was the process days, and damn it felt so good. I couldn't have been happier watching that game last night. They were entertaining in the second half as I was watching a little bit. Then I fell asleep. But, that was fun last night. That was like old times. Back when you didn't realize that there was no payoff to the process 76ers. That all those years of going through intentional losing, who would have thought in 2025 that we're right back to the future? Get me my DeLorean. Send me back to 2013 so I can enjoy it all over again. Don't tell me that it's not going to work. All right? Daryl Morey has created a total bleep show with this 76ers team. Now, last night, it's pretty clear Sixers are on back-to-backs. So last night at home, OKC, one of the best teams, it's not the best team in basketball, I think 32-6. And then tonight, Wells Fargo Center, the Knickerbockers, New York Knicks, come into town. So he looks at it, they look at it and say, you know what? I'm sure these guys are a little bit banged up, right? So if you're not going to play Paul George and Martin, well, you're going to put Maxey out there with a bunch of G Leaguers. So you sit Maxey too. You take the L, which you're going to get anyway. And then you hope to have all the guys back tonight for a division game, for a game against the Knicks that really, like, the juice, if you're a fan, that's kind of where you want to be tonight. It's a much more important game than a Western Conference game. Like, not that this is the NFL or anything like that, but you know what I mean. If you were going to win one of the 2 games, or you're going to play your players in one of the 2 games, it would definitely be the Knicks. So they waved the white flag last night. Now, the problem is, and this is a reoccurring problem with not only the Sixers, but the NBA, when you announce this an hour before tip-off, and if you're a big NBA fan and you want to see one of the better NBA teams, well, the OKC Thunder. So the 76ers schedule comes out. Maybe you're a season ticket holder and you have a package and you're like, no, I want this as part of the games that I go to. Or maybe you just buy a couple games a year. You buy this game and then nobody plays. And it's an hour before game, and you're unless you live a hop, skip, and a jump away, You're already en route. You've already made plans. You're maybe already at dinner. Whatever it is, there's no turning back now. So you go down to the game and you watch them get blasted early. Treatment of the 76ers fans, I can't say it enough. And some of it is collateral damage, and it's the nature of and the NBA and whatever else. But it's one of the reasons why it's declining in popularity. It's one of the reasons why their TV hits are taking a dump. And I mean, am I going to go buy 76ers tickets to a game that half the team may not play or every good player may not play? Man, that'd be the biggest kick in the groin if this is like one of the only game all year that you're going to. When I was a kid, I would get tickets from my Aunt Kathy to one 76ers game at Christmas. She was able to get it through her work, and she gave them to me. Imagine that being the one game you get to go to. Kobe Bryant said it for years that he wanted to play in every game because he knows when he travels that might be the one game that he is a fan that wants to come and see him in Minnesota and everything. All right, well, let's welcome to the locker room, which is sponsored by Valley Forge Tourism. Yes, Valley Forge Tourism. Listen, there's a ton to do in Valley Forge in Montgomery County. Winter weekend getaways and family-friendly affordability right there in Valley Forge and Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Historical sites, which if you have kids is an amazing idea. Tons of family attractions, a vibrant art scene, shopping, food, and more. It's just 18 miles from downtown Philadelphia. Valleyforge.org can help you discover hidden gems, endless activities, and tons of places to stay in Montco. Get started planning that next getaway today. Valleyforge.org. Make it family time and make it Montco. As Black Gritty's reading Inner Excellence, but he's also known to like the locker room, right? You're a locker room guy. You like to prance around naked like a lot of the old guys in the locker room. What's up, Gritty?
Yeah, old school. Yeah, I mean, got to get that shower in. You know what I mean? Got to get that shower in. You know what I'm saying?
BG, when I was in middle school, our phys ed teachers were in their last 5 years of teaching. They were old. Mr. Murphy wore Chuck Taylors and sweatpants and a T-shirt from the 60s, the same things that he wore in the 60s. So you play kickball for 30 minutes, and it's like, all right, let's get in the showers, boys. And it's like, no. Why are we taking a shower? I'm going to put my clothes back on and go to class. And I'm not insinuating there was anything hinky going on there. That was just what you did. Like my dad's age when they went to school. After gym class, you took a shower and then you got in your clothes. You went, we didn't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I was right at the edge of that. Like I remember when I was like eighth grader, freshman, like some of the seniors would like hop in the shower and just rinse off. And everybody else after that was just sweating it out. Now, when we had like wrestling practice or football or something like that, you could just go hop in the shower. Like we had the showers. And then they redid the school, and now there's no more showers like that anymore. So
just the general open shower where there's just nozzles everywhere. Yeah, that was a product of the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah, now I think they have like 2 showers for like emergencies, like if something goes down. And it's really funny because, you know, some dudes just didn't care. I'm like, dude, we got to get back to class. Like they didn't even have an allotment time for you to do that in my era. Like they had shut all that down. So it's like you played all the way up until you got like 2 minutes left to go change out of your gym clothes because it did still make you wear gym clothes. Like you had like 5 minutes. Some dudes like just running naked through the gym. Like, bro, I'm not going back to class funky. I'm like, okay, dude, you know what I mean? So it was just
not one person showered after gym class. Not one. But it was like during the era before us, that's what they did.
Yeah, I had 2 dudes that were just like, no, I stink. I can't do it. And I'm like, okay, knock yourself out. I mean, does everybody just be funky around here? And I am reading Inner Excellence. A great excerpt I'm on right now. Do you know what the actual battle is that you are facing to achieve your goals and dreams? And who is your main adversary? I mean, I understand. I mean, I'm only on page 36, bro.
Did you see? Did you? I was just looking at this. Hang on a second. And it's just like, can this even be true? That like it showed the percentage that his book sales went up, and it was like 532 million%. So in other words, the guy probably sold 1 copy in the last 6 months.
Yes, and I saw an interview of him last night. You know, and this has a lot to do with like athletes and golfers and things like that. And they asked him like, oh, did you know that AJ had the book? And he said, I had heard that AJ had the book. I've never spoken to AJ. You know what I mean? But like, and then when I heard that he's been reading the book like throughout the season, you know, it's really great. Like this guy still works with athletes, helping them achieve their center and their mental peace. So, I mean, so like I said, I'm on 36. It's a good read. It's interesting. And if that's what you need to do to get your mind focused, I don't know what we're complaining about. He could be on the sidelines getting beat up by a net. You know what I mean?
No, listen, if it calms him down and he doesn't get mad and freak out, it's just odd that, like, we've said Tom Brady saw somebody eating a hot dog on the sidelines before, but, you know, it was just odd to see that somebody reading a book. And
it's like, it is one of those things that's only what the camera catches to show you. Because I just remember when Carson Wentz played, the one thing that made me angry is every single bad drive, they'd show him sitting on the bench. And my whole thing was like, do the Eagles not have a tablet? Is he allergic to a tablet? Why have I never seen this man pick up a tablet? Where's the tablet? And it became a thing for me because I never saw him look at his bad plays. And it became like, well, he doesn't want to review the bad plays. He wants to put it out of his mind. And I'm like, no, he needs to see. He needs to know.
Bad Carson Wentz on the sideline was not a lot of fun. All right, listen, we got a lot to talk about here. That I was just talking about the 76ers. Blackberry, I'm just telling you, I'm as happy as could be. Bring the process back. I earlier in the season, I said, you know what? It's just trade Embiid. Like, I'm so over all of this. We're in 2025. Daryl Morey has created the biggest bleep show of anything I can remember. And we're right back where we were. Now everyone's like, oh, well, they still got a chance. And now Morey next year in the offseason is going to try again. He's going to add another 80-year-old player on the team. Kyle Lowry maybe. Who knows, right? It ain't going to work. They're not winning a championship. Over. And I'd rather see him suck, and I can enjoy watching him play with no expectations anymore.
My heart broke when McCain went down because that was the only joy I had. Him and Max were the only joy I had. And last night just made me sick to my stomach. It made me so sad because I did suffer through the process. I did watch a lot of those games. I did see the value in what they were doing. But now getting Paul George here is Tobias 2.0. And I know you can call me a casual and a cookie crumb person, but I'm like, dude, you're not shooting. You're not playing half the time. And your podcast is also suffering, bro. You're failing on all fronts. You can't get guests out here in New Jersey, Philadelphia area like you did out there in LA. Your podcast sucks. You suck. I mean, my goodness, give me back Tobias, because at least his dad would make it interesting every once in a while, shouting at the crowd. The process era is back, bro. And I used to love Nick Nurse. I thought he was a good coach. Now all I think is this man's a moron. It's making me hate every single thing about the 76ers. Yeah. Daryl Morey has never won anything, and it hurts my heart, bro. Hurts my heart.
Tyler was saying this earlier about Nick Nurse. Like, you want to say, well, what do you expect from him with the injuries and everything else? But in the limited amount of instances, or when you're like, okay, here's where a good coach, and I'm not talking about last night, but here's where a good coach could help the team, and you just haven't seen it. You haven't. And he looks, could you imagine if you're Nick Nurse? And I don't know how he feels about this, either internally or whatever, but you come into this situation and you're like, wow, we have a real chance here. And this is what you've been gifted between last year and now this year. Like, all right, not for nothing, right? And I said this on the show now probably a couple months ago, and I have it on my Instagram and my TikTok where I said, Joel Embiid will never be healthy. Forget about the fact he has a chronic knee condition. Since then, he broke his friggin' face again. He has a sprained foot that he's missed 5 straight games. I mean, I have no idea. When's he going to be back? Tonight? Is he going to be out again tonight? Like, who knows? Like, when do we finally say this isn't going to work? When does this end? This is torture. I can't take it anymore.
I love the fact that you're yelling, because I always get yelled at for yelling, but that's what happens when you're passionate about something that annoys you. Nick Nurse has the worst poker face ever. I would love to sit down at a tournament table with him. I could read his body language. I'd take him, I'd clean him out. Oh, man, he's disgusted. And that was the beauty of Brett Clown. He could sit there and take that losing, because no real coach wants to have this losing on their resume. And last night, you're right. They came out, they were down 21 early, and then they fought back.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, wow, they're out here with OKC. And OKC is young, athletic, and balling. And they took them right to the break. And you're like, oh, yeah, but they're the Sixers, and they're going to lose this game. And then I got annoyed all over again. And we haven't talked about it yet, but then you flash forward to the Flyers on a back-to-back, and they're giving you the best that they got, baby, and they're trying, and then they end up in a shootout, and they lost. And you're like, it's okay. They fought back. They did what they need to do because the expectation level is so much different for them. So you can feel happy about that fight. You can feel happy about that growth. The Sixers have burnt all capital and hope and joy in your heart. It's all gone now. Throwing the stadium and that narcissistic girlfriend you were dating about the whole stadium situation, and they have burnt everything to the ground. Everything.
All right. Well, listen. So Tyler, we're going to do headlines in the second half. The second half of the show coming up. Black Gritty. The vile Eagles fan has been fired, banned.
He might need his job back.
Pretty much his life is ruined. But the Packers guy, he's become a very interesting piece in this puzzle. Because guess what? He's a loser. He's a stone cold grade A loser. We'll dissect all of that. And by the way, there is a playoff game coming up here. How are we feeling confidence-wise? Eagles and Rams just a couple of days away. That's all coming up on Philly with Jon Marks. Back in 2-2. See, I always thought I was going to be on the radio, but I always, as like a secondary job, I wanted to be a game show host. And that probably was never going to happen. But I love Chuck Woolery and Love Connection, back in 2-2. All right. Let's talk about glatt hair restoration. So someone emailed me on Monday and said, "Hey, send me some pictures. Like, I hear you talking about glatt hair restoration, and like I'm skeptical, right? I'm skeptical of the results. I'm skeptical of how easy you say it is. I'm telling you, hair restoration procedure from glatt hair restoration is easily." Like, you have expectations about things. We were just talking about the expectations with the 76ers. The expectations were like, all right, this seems like it could be really good. Exceeded expectations. I can't stress enough the results. I can't stress enough. If I would have known this years before, I would have had it done. And glatt hair restoration, the experts in the business when it comes to hair. When it comes to hair loss, right? Like, maybe you're just starting to go thin. You're like, Johnny Marks, I don't think I need hair restoration yet. That's actually perfect, because if you are thinning and you're shedding and you're noticing it, like, you look at your last license picture and you're like, wow, I have lost some hair. Listen, glatt hair has something for all stages of hair loss. PRP and stem cell restoration is very popular. Anything with PRP now, they're using it for injuries. Use it for hair loss. It's very effective. Vitamin supplementation, which is very popular, and it works very well. Other treatments as well, and of course, hair restoration. Each patient receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation, because the hair team, my girls at Glatt Hair Restoration, they're trying to pinpoint the best course of treatment for you. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. So Glatt Hair is not just about restoration, it's about innovation. Get your hair back if you want to improve how you look. Call them today. Their hair team is standing by. 610-980-4000. 610-980-4000 or Glatt's Hair. That's Glatt, G-L-A-T, GlattHairMCTR.com. GlattHairMCTR.com. If your back, hands, knee, ankle, if you're in pain and you're like, all right, man, like, what should I do? Rothman Orthopedics. Practicing specialized care. It's been their passion for over 50 years. Their mission of high quality, compassionate, and affordable care is rooted in research. Research, it's leading to new treatments and better outcomes. So you think about it, I've been fortunate. I haven't had major injuries, but if you tear your ACL, you blow out your Achilles, maybe you need a hip replacement, ankle replacement, bad back, whatever it is, you go to Rothman and they take care of it for you. But what if you have a bad knee, but it's like, you don't even think it needs surgery? It's just like, oh man, it's killing me. 6 out of 10. Every time I run, every time I play golf, my shoulder's hurting, right? You can get that taken care of. This happened with me and my shoulder 3 years ago. And I spent a year hoping it would get better. And finally I said, well, I guess I have to go somewhere. Rothman. I went to Rothman up in Limerick. It took one It's just one initial consultation appointment with the doc, and they said, you have a frozen shoulder. Here's a script for PT. We have physical therapy right here. Went to physical therapy for 6 weeks. They discharged me. My shoulder was back. No pain. I haven't been paid since. That could be you. So if you're in pain, you don't have to live with it. Rothman are the experts, not just volume. They do the most. Knee replacement, hip replacements, whatever. A full spectrum of orthopedic care. But they're the best. Over 50 years, Rothman's been participating in thousands of groundbreaking research and clinical trials with the goal of advancing knowledge, developing treatments, and improving the outcomes for the benefits of their patients. Rothman Orthopedics, specialized in orthopedics and you. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and to make an appointment today. Hooah! There you go. So, Black Gritty's with us today in the locker room. Tyler Zulli is here as well today. What was your reaction to, we talked about it yesterday, and the story just wouldn't go away. It was like all day. There was internet sleuths, Twitter detectives. What was your guys' reaction to him getting fired, the dude getting fired, which to me, I mean, it's really no surprise that the place fired him. But is it like, should they have fired him? Should they have stood by their employee or what? What do you think, Black Gritty?
So, gosh, now it's hard for me to answer now that I know more information. In the moment, I don't think someone should get fired from their job because an angry mob is mad at them. If I'm at that job, I'm saying, look, I'm doing an internal review. I might suspend them and wait for it to die down because the internet just wants blood. And when they want the blood, they need it and for 48 hours. After 48 hours, I'll be honest with you. I read the thing. I saw it like a million times. I can't even remember where he worked at anymore. And it's only been one day. So I can't remember where he works at. So if I walked in one day and saw him, I'd be like, oh, okay, is this the guy? All you got to do is shave, dye his hair brown or whatever. And then I forget all about it. But the mob is the mob and they need blood and they need it now. So I don't think people should be fired for something like that. Him getting banned from the link, I get, you know what I mean? But dude, people been out there tailgating and drinking since 4 o'clock in the morning. And if you expect civility, then you're a crazy person. It's why I never took my kid to the game. I used to go to games all the time. Once I had a kid, I'm like, I'm not taking my kid to a game because nope. I've gone with girls to Giants games and Giants games with Eagles fans. It was not okay. When the Giants were winning after they won that Super Bowl, I was dumb enough to go up there and go have a game. It was not a good time. And I wasn't crying to the internet about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we'll get to the loser Packer fan. He said, this is the statement from the place. I'm not going to mention their business name because there's no need to. But it says, we condemn our former employee's conduct in the strongest possible terms. This individual's conduct and language were vile, disgusting, unacceptable, and horrific, have no place in our workplace and society. Such conduct is not who we are and not what we stand for. At the same time, again, to be true to our values, we can condemn the actions without condemning the individual. None of us deserve to be remembered for actions taken on our worst day. We have offered grace and support to our former employee. We hope that he will grow and we can all learn from this deeply disturbing incident. That's what real inclusion is and does. Oh, shut the bleep up with that crap. Shut up. You fired him and then you say, but we're not condemning, we're condemning the actions, not the individual. You fired him. And then it's like, I agree with this part, that you shouldn't be remembered for your actions on your worst day. And maybe he has a way to change that with his family and everything else. But like, you fired him. Just say you fired him and then move on from it. You fired him. So like, and whatever. Like, honestly, dude, like you said, Black Gritty, knowing the whole situation now, and like, all right, like it wasn't violence. He didn't do anything like that. But then you go back and watch the video. But then you go back and watch the video, and if I owned this place, I would fire him because he's like, what a piece of crap. I mean, who the hell talks like that to anybody? Right? Like, it's when you watch the video, your immediate reaction is, yeah, I would have fired him too. So it's hard to blame the place. I just hate the statement where they're none of us need to be remembered for actions taken on our worst day. Oh, shut up. You're firing the guy.
They've got a great HR department, Johnny Marks. I mean, that was handled flawlessly on both ends. And again, the thing that kills me now is not, and I should know better because I edit videos for a living. I know that I could go and rant for 2 hours, take a 60-second clip, put it on the internet, and people come and tell me that I'm a moron and I don't know the game. And I'm like, well, if you watch the rest of the thing, you'd understand. You know from being on the radio. You're on the radio or you're on a show for an hour. And then somebody will call and be like, you didn't say anything about such and such. I'm like, dude, I said that an hour and a half ago. I literally said what you're complaining about now. So people's mindset of what they get from a clip is insane. And when you go back and watch it in detail, at the end, the guy who's recording is like, oh, I got it.
Got it.
So were you messing with this man to start him up like beforehand? Were you saying stuff like, were you like, oh, Jacobs is coming back, he's about to dunk on your mom? Or I don't know what you said to get him to that point. Because again, you're right. You can't have my business represented like this. Like, dude, do you know what they were saying about me before that clip started? What if that's what he said to his boss? He's like, boss, you don't understand what they said about my dog. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
and you're right. We don't know. I don't believe that these two Packers fans from Pennsylvania, by the way, I don't think that they were like intentionally poking the bear in hope of getting what they thought they would get back, because they knew what they were going to get. So this dude he's a Packer. He's like a Packers YouTube personality, but like not very popular, right? Like
he does now.
Well, right, exactly. So what's the motivation? So not only that, but he is a serial GoFundMe guy, from his dog having cancer and wanting that paid for to wanting actually to have his trip paid for to Philadelphia. So he's from Pennsylvania. I guess he just needed tickets to the game, but he puts out a post on GoFundMe that says, the Packers are heading into the playoffs and are going into Philly this Sunday to take on blah, 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 blah. Things are gloomy right now, but one thing is for certain. I'm still confident and believe in this team. If you didn't know, I was born and raised in PA, actually an hour from the Eagle Stadium. So I ask of you, the fans, send me to Philly. Send me into the belly of the beast. I've done it multiple times, repping the Packers proud, and I am fully ready to do it again. I've been cursed at, stuff thrown at me, and even my first ever cheesehead ripped off my head and thrown into a fire bin while supporting my team at Philly. But I'm sure as hell not scared to do it again. So he raises $586. He goes to the game. So he goes in knowing the treatment that he's going to get, and he's prepared to video it for content, which honestly, BG, is smart. If you know you're going to go into a stadium and be crushed by Eagles fans, the problem is, it's one thing to have like a bunch of different scumbags that are yelling stuff at you. Then it's funny. But to focus it on this guy, clearly knowing that you're going to ruin his life by putting it out there, which he did, and I don't feel bad. I kind of feel bad for the guy. But, like, he didn't even plan it. Like, the plan for this guy wasn't even like, hey, I'm going to go make this I'm going to get this great content. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to put it up, and it's going to get... No, he literally just wanted to go to the game because he's a loser. And he wanted to go with it. He wanted to get his trip paid for him. And that's all he wanted to do. So he's not even this YouTuber that's clever, and I should give him credit for it. He's just a loser. Packer fan from Pennsylvania. So,
you read that blurb? You read that blurb? He was already pre-talking about the fans. He got in there. He found the right one. He's got the camera on. He didn't put up any other clips. You got a GoPro strapped to your chest. Now I think you're doing criminal activity, and you set my fan up, and Philadelphia doesn't deserve to be represented this way. This is shamocracy. It might have been photoshopped. I don't know what's going on, but now I do not trust this dude or the whole situation. Give my man his job back. Keep him banned from the link, but give my man his job back. He's got his life ruined by some funky YouTuber begging for money for tickets that he already paid for, and he had that blurb about Philadelphia and what he already had to deal with, and then that's the only clip he puts out. Oh, nah, buddy. Give him his job back. I'm done. I'm not falling for none of that. He knew what he was doing. We've been bamboozled, Johnny Marks. Give him. I'm trying to do campaign. Go fund me to get my man his job back.
Yeah. So yesterday, I saw a lot of people say, well, why didn't he stand up for his fiance? And I think at one point he said, don't call her that. And she didn't want to switch seats or whatever. Guess what? Tough. We're switching seats so you're away from this animal, right? And I heard a lot of people say that. Like, here's the reality of it, right? Like, Eagles fans are probably going to act like that. Now, like, using the C word and all this stuff, like, the guy's a total loser. That's why I don't even want to focus on him today. But, like, yeah. Text the number that they give out if you're being harassed. Go talk to security and be like, hey, this guy won't leave me alone. Like, I've been at games where opposing fans were being harassed, like, similar to that, and they threw the Eagles fans out of the game. You can go up and talk to security if you're being heckled. And they said they were being heckled like that the whole game, and it'll be over. It'll be over. They'll move him or they'll tell him to throw him out if he doesn't shut up. And so there's other things he could have done rather than what he did. To your point and to everybody else's point, this was what he was looking for. He got what he was looking for.
Having the fan escorted out would have been, oh, well, see, they took care of it. Not having him escorted out, the whole internet was like, Philadelphia doesn't do anything to protect visiting fans. This is imposter. Where was security? Where were the people? Where were the other fans? Like he could have done something and did nothing but egg on this man to make it worse for his video content. And now I know I've been had. I can see it in his face. I know a scam when I see one. I've been watching the 76ers for the last decade. I know a scam when I see one.
It's unbelievable. He also, this is another GoFundMe. Hey guys, my sister's cat is going through FIP currently. She fosters cats a ton and anything helps. I don't like to do this type of thing, but I greatly appreciate it if you do. And then he puts the GoFundMe link. God damn it. I really wish I didn't have to make this post, but I could really use your help right now. This morning, my girlfriend and I's dog Fleetwood, is he a Fleetwood Mac fan?
Gotta be.
Was sadly diagnosed with cancer. We're doing everything in our power to get him the help he truly needs. If you could take a second to check out this fundraiser for Fleetwood, that'd be greatly appreciated. Every donation will help towards saving our buddy. Thank you in advance. And he got a ton of retweets and comments and things like that. So I didn't see the sleuthing on how much money he got for that. But yeah, so this guy's going to GoFundMe. He's the GoFundMe guy. Could you imagine going on GoFundMe? Forget about me or you. But this YouTube loser that goes on GoFundMe for not even his dog, his sister's cat.
Like, I can't tell you how many times. Like, so my friend, I got my nice studio, right? And I wanted something from it, and a guy that I work with was like, oh, we should do a GoFundMe and see if like some of the fans will help buy it. And I was like, there's people out there who like have lost their homes in fires. I'm like, I feel, he's like, yeah, but you're not taking money from those people. You're getting money from people that support you. I still couldn't do it. I have such a hard time going to GoFundMe. I've slept in my car in my life. And I was like, I didn't have a GoFundMe. I just toughed it out and worked 80 hours a week and saved up all my money and got a new apartment. Like I don't know the whole GoFundMe thing. And this just seems so creepy with all the things this guy's doing. I want my guy to get his job back because now he's sitting out there collecting unemployment, thinking what is he going to do with his life? And when he goes get a job, they're going to Google him, and he's just screwed.
And he's screwed. Yeah, you're right. Oh, guess what? He ain't getting unemployment. I don't know. I don't know if they gave him a severance or whatever, but they whack you. You ain't getting unemployment.
I got fired.
You have to fight for it.
Oh, and I'm getting it. You saw that post they put out by HR? That's HR giving me my money. Because when they call me on unemployment, I'm going to say, hey, I'm not supposed to be judged by my worst day. This is what the company said to the public. I was judged and let go. I need my GoFundMe from the government. Somebody going to give me some money.
Well, listen, I guess. All right. Tyler, we haven't heard from Tyler Zuli today. He was working on some problems this morning getting BG on. Tyler Zuli, how do you react to this? Because I had the exact same thing. I'm like, and even now, I'm like, I watched the video. It's hard to feel bad for the guy. But then when you realize this Packer fan's obviously a crumb and a total stone loser, that he's out there begging for donations for the cat. Like, should he have lost his job? See, from a company standpoint, it's hard to argue with the company, other than the stupid statement they put out that they don't want to condemn him. They want to condemn his actions. Then don't fire him. Say he's a quality guy who was just on his worst day, and we're going to stand by him. How about that?
Yeah,
but they don't. Tyler, do you have a thought on this, Mr. Penn State?
I'll be honest with you. I think that this guy's still not a good dude, right? Like, I think that this guy still berated a person at a game and went over the line and berated this woman and used language that was inappropriate, right? So I think that, I still have no problem with this guy getting, kind of reaping what he has sowed here a little bit. I think that the context of the Packers fan having a camera and, maybe it feels like there was a baiting of content a little bit. Sure. But I do think that at the end of the day, this guy still, used profanity at this woman, was very much up in her face and aggressive. And I think that to me, like, to me still is like the story of this conversation is this guy probably should be banned from Lincoln Financial Field, right? For, they always talk about, the sentiment of profane language and excessive language and, I don't want to being in other people's personal space and threatening them in a way that doesn't, abide with what the link is trying to cultivate as for fans, right? So all of those things are still true, despite the fact that, this, you talked about the guy has the camera and blah, blah, blah. Like, this guy still, you avoid this whole situation by not being the aggressor in that situation and not getting in this woman's face and not using those words.
Yeah,
so
like
it's still a poor life decision.
Let me ask you a question, Tyler. So this guy hasn't released the whole video. So what would it change your mindset if before that clip started, that husband was saying something or that wife turned and said something vile to that man to spark him off, knowing he's wasted drunk? Would that change your mindset at all? Because that's where the issue I come in with. If a guy's running around with this camera and I only get this soundbite, I don't know what started that interaction. And by looking at the background of this guy, I can put in my mind to say, hey, again, deserves to be fired from the link. But I mean, losing your job, if this man's out there saying, dude, you don't even know what they said to me, because he doesn't have a YouTube channel. He doesn't have a GoFundMe to go complain to the internet and say, well, you don't even know what they did to get me started. Would that change your mindset about his job? Not the link thing. I get we're all on point with that. But I'm saying to ruin the dude's life, I don't even know what really happened because I don't have a full tape. I don't have a full clip. I hear that about cops all the time. Well, Owen, you got to wait for the full body cam. You just got a clip from somebody's cell phone. So, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair to, like, if a full video processes and it comes out into light and it's like, the initiator were to be the two Packers fans, then sure, it changes the light of, like, is it aggression or is it retaliation type of thing, right?
Yeah,
so as of right now, as this moment stands, right, this is what we know. What we know is what we've been presented. And so what we've been presented right now is that this guy is the problem of this situation. I'm a big believer in you are able to and allowed to change your opinion and change your thoughts when new information is provided to you. And so if new information gets provided to us, then sure, I guess you can have a larger scope conversation. Right now, what we're able to do is parse through what we know. And what we know is this clip and this video is pretty derogatory.
It's bad. It's totally bad. I just want to throw it hypothetical to get the question and ask the right answer. There is a possibility, a window, if there was more information given. I don't think we're going to get it because the guy who has the footage is the guy who has the footage.
But also, and we got to wrap this up. If that was the case, I think there'd be other people from the section that were saying, like, hold on a second. I don't believe that. I mean, they may have instigated it somewhat, but like, I don't think that there was like, hey, your mother wears combat boots, and he turns around and is like, hey, your wife's ugly, she's a C, right? Like, I don't think any of that happened.
Your mama was a snowblower,
right? And back when insults were fun, Black Gritty, not how they are right now. All right, coming up, we'll talk with headlines. We'll talk about the actual game. Flyers did play last night, 76ers. We talked about that as well. Tyler Lazuli along next with headlines and some Eagles-Rams conversation. That's all coming up next. Philly with Jon Marks. All right, let's talk about Bet Parks. We talking about Bet Parks? Talk about Bet Parks. That's right. I'm sorry. All right. So pro football playoffs continue this weekend. Detroit finished with a record of 15-2. First round bye Saturday night, 8:00. They're a 9.5-point home favorite hosting Washington. 55.5 over under. The Birds, 6-point home favorites. Over under 44. Some other games there too. The Baltimore point favorites over Buffalo. That's still up there right now. Monday night. Monday. College football championship. Notre Dame, Ohio State. Ohio State, a big 9.5-point favorite. So whether or not your team scores, there's always another way to win on the BetParks online casino and sportsbook app. It's the only app I would ever use and recommend to bet sports and to play all your favorite casino games for real money. So get some skin in the game and bet sports or play blackjack, craps, poker roulette, and hot online slots while watching the game. Make your downtime fun time. Play hot online slots, double down on fourth down, or play with a live dealer right on your phone. Download the app. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. New users, download the app and get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if they're down in the first 24 hours. Your casino bonus must be wagered. ParksCasino.com for details. You must be 21 and in PA, New Jersey, Maryland for the BetParks app. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Valley Forge Tourism. Listen, I'm like this because I have kids, and when we have to get out of the house, we got to go do something fun, right? Why not a weekend winter getaway and family-friendly affordability right there in Valley Forge in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania? Valley Forge has so much to offer. The historical sites, go check them out. Your kids are learning and they're having fun. There's tons of family attractions, a vibrant art scene, outdoor activities, shopping, and more. And if you're in Philly or on the outskirts, 18 miles from downtown Philadelphia. So listen, I go to museums with my kids. They don't go on the field trips like they used to in school. So enjoy it. Have them learn a little something, right? And you can do that at Valley Forge and Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. ValleyForge.org can help you discover hidden gems, endless activities, and tons of places to stay. Yeah, do an overnight. Montco. That's right. Get started planning that next getaway today. ValleyForge.org. Make it family time and make it Montco. There you go. Very close to my house. I drive past Montgomery County and Valley Forge. I've actually been to Valley Forge Park when the kids were probably a couple summers ago now. It was nice, and we drove down, boom, right off of 422, and we were running around, checking some things out. It was fun.
So it's funny that you say, the kids don't do field trips like you used to. So, like, I went to Catholic school my whole life. So any field trip that we did had to be, like, it. You would do the field trip part, but you had to do something that was like Catholic school.
You had to go pray
Catholic
before
church.
it.
Yeah, basically. So we went to Baltimore one time, and it was an excellently planned field trip. We were doing the Inner Harbor and a bunch of whole different stuff, but we had to stop at like this sacred Baltimore church. It's been there for a million billion years, right? And we were so late getting to the church that the rest of the day, we were got shot out the window because we had no time left. So anytime I think of field trips, I'm like, well, what do we have to? What church do we have to stop at?
It all
first?
goes back to being a Catholic, Tyler Zuli.
That's where my guilt came in. That's the Catholic school guilt.
I guess COVID ruined that because I do fondly remember being one of those dads on field trips and taking the kids, you go to the amusement park or whatever. And my whole thing was like, all right, you've given me 7 children. Don't lose the children. That's all I was worried about all day.
They just
I don't care what's going on. I just don't want to be the one out here looking for one of their kids.
My oldest is in 3rd grade, so maybe they're just not at the age where they start doing it. But I remember in school going to Betsy Ross and Valley Forge and everywhere at a young age too.
At a young age, yeah. That's what I mean. I was worried about. I did not want to lose a small child. These kids are 6 and 7, and I'm like, hey.
Yeah, so, now you're in charge.
It has changed because even her high school, the trips that they used to take, they don't take anymore. They used to go down to Washington D.C. and all that kind of stuff, and she just never got that trip because she was a freshman when COVID happened. So now they just never took that trip. And I'm like, it has changed. It sucks.
Well, Black Gritty, let's take a trip to headlines. With Tyler Zuli, as we had a lot of stuff going on last night. Tyler, good morning.
Yeah, let's do it. Our headlines, of course, are brought to us by our friends at Glad Hair Restoration. They're not just about restoration. It's also about innovation as well. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel, head on over to gladhairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started. Let's start. You brought up the Sixers at the beginning of the show, so we'll briefly touch on that game. Lopsided game for most of the night. They lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder 118-102. If you guys had on your bingo card that the starting 5 was going to be Gershon Yabusele, Reggie Jackson, Eric Gordon, Kelly Oubre, and Ricky Council, well, you probably just bought an island with your same game starting lineup parlay. The other guys that got some run last night, Pete Nance, who they just brought back. Justin Edwards played 35 minutes. Jeff Doughton and Adem Bona also played some pretty significant minutes off the bench. So That was the 9 guys who played yesterday for the Sixers. Edwards ended up being the leading scorer with 25. He was 9 of 16.
How about that?
Jeff Doughton had 18. A couple other guys in double figures, but not a particularly strong game for the Sixers.
Justin Edwards is a local product, so it was good to see him up with the big club. He's got a 2-way contract. Pete Nance, who they not Pete Nice, not Prime Minister Pete Nice. Pete Nance they released him like last week or 2 weeks ago, and they said, "Oh crap, we don't have enough players to play. Let's bring in Pete." They should have brought in Larry Nance Sr. Black Gritty.
We need you, buddy. Yeah, and even Yabusele, I call him Beignet Wallace. It's nice to watch him go out there and play. Yeah, Beignet Wallace, he dunked on LeBron, got a contract. I love watching him play. But it's just like, man alive. The fact that I'm looking at that, and again, you trick your brain in the third quarter, like, man, they ain't winning this game. Stop. The Sixers, boy, I tell you, they got me in a chokehold. I gave my season tickets this year. Thank goodness I did. Like you talk about with the Kobe Bryant situation, this is the first year in 5 years I don't have season tickets, and man, my pockets are happy. My pockets are so happy.
Let me ask you guys a question. Like, you kind of joke about Yabusele there, BG, but like, they're 15-23, and I'm genuinely curious, where would this team be without him this season? He's been an excellent addition for a team that desperately needs him, whether he plays the backup 5 or he plays stretch 4. He's shooting more than he's ever shot before. His defense has been pretty good. Like, this team would be even more cooked without Yabusele.
Yeah, no, he's legitimately a good piece, a good rotational piece in the NBA. The Sixers don't even deserve him, right? Like, I'd like to see him on a good team and see what he can do.
We're wasting his talents.
Yep.
We're wasting his talents. Great. He would be if we were a full tilt and Paul George is like 8 years younger, this team would be so amazing. But the fact that you just gave another, you didn't want to give Harden his money because he was old. Harden at least out there playing every day. No matter what you say about Harden, this dude's out there stripping and dipping. He don't go to practice. He's out to strip clubs on the weekends. Give me back stripping and dipping because at least he plays ball. I mean, my goodness. I miss it. I miss you, James. My bad. I knew you can't win in the playoffs, but I miss you, doggy. I apologize.
The best and smartest thing that was said all show was, I want Brett Brown to be the coach again. Brett Brown. Because you're right. Nobody liked losing more than Brett Brown. Nobody had more positive things to say after watching a bunch of G Leaguers play than Brett Brown. He handled it so well. And Nick Nurse not handling it well. Looking like out there with a bunch of G Leaguers. It's rough.
He's going to need Dr. Glad. He's holding on to the last little bit of hair he's got, but I know he's out there pulling it out in the middle of the night. Every night. He's just going through it. He's going through it.
All right. Well, so, and back to now, Tyler, we have a back-to-back. So clearly, and by the way, it's hard to do this to the fans, but it's. I mean, if you know that, like I don't know who's really hurt and who's not really hurt. Like, are they just saying we're not playing these guys for load management, or like could Paul George not play last night because he was probable right up until an hour before the game? The more important game of the two is the game against the Knicks tonight, correct? So if you're choosing, like, hey, I'm not going to put Maxey out there with Pete Nance and Pete Nice. So you just sit him, and then now he's full tilt and he's ready to go with everybody else tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the over-under, right, the Sixers are 5.5 point, or you look at the spread, they're 5.5 point dogs against the Knicks team that's substantially better than them, right? So that clearly tells you that, all of the estimated return dates are like Paul George tonight, Tyrese Maxey tonight, Caleb Martin tonight. So I think that told you yesterday felt like that was going to be, if they're picking one of the two, they're throwing yesterday away. That doesn't mean they're going to win today. The Knicks are still a good team. Yeah. But it felt like they were throwing yesterday away.
All right. What else do we have, Tyler?
Yeah, let's go to the Flyers last night. They lose in the shootout last night to the Blue Jackets 3-2. Goals by Bobby Brink and Owen Tippett. It snaps a short 2-game winning streak. Columbus has now won 5 in a row, and they've actually won 7 out of their last 8. They're now up to 48 points. The Flyers playing at about a point per game pace. At 44 points after 45 games, but they lose this one 3-2. I thought Ivan Fedotov was pretty good last night, made 26 of 28. Flyers back at it tomorrow when they take on the Islanders. A stretch of Metropolitan games coming up, starting with the one last night. They'll play the Islanders tomorrow and the Devils on Saturday, and then one game against the Red Wings, and then 5 more straight against Metro division opponents. They've got the Rangers, the Isles twice, and the Devils 3 times in the next 2 weeks.
Wow. I just went to the Game Time app to see what tickets we're going for tonight. I mean, as we've learned, Knicks fans will come down. So you're not getting a ton of deals. Even if the starters are playing. If they were playing somebody else, you could probably get lower level for like $40. But still pretty expensive down low for the Knicks and the 76ers. It's going to sound like a Knicks home game there, Black Gritty.
Imagine Torch sitting half the team because he's got a back-to-back. Imagine it. Imagine it. You can't even fathom it. I mean, that's, again, the difference. Like, people don't like Torch, and my thing is sometimes he frustrates me. But, my God, just having a grown man in Philadelphia that looks you in the camera and says, shut up, you're stupid, I don't know, I don't care, is so refreshing. It's so refreshing to have somebody be honest with me. Like, at this point, Dad, just tell me I'm not good. Like, just tell me I'm not going to make it, okay? Tell me I'm a bench player. Like, encourage me through putting my face through a glass pane window and make me work for it. Like, I love Tortorella so much because Philadelphia has given us nothing but Glenn Rivers, and now they done got me Nick Nursified. And man alive, Tort, I love you, brother. Keep pushing them young puppies, okay? Keep doing anything. I know they don't like you. They trying to get you out of here. But my God, I respect you. I respect. On a back-to-back, you saw they were fighting in the third period on a back-to-back? The Sixers could never.
No, they can't play 2 in a row. That's crazy. Like sometimes when I watch, in particular in baseball, when you get such a bad call that's made, and it's like if I was, it would be with Gabe Kapler. They'd have me in handcuffs right now before I would go out like that. They would literally have to drag me away in handcuffs. You would have to kill Tortorella for him to. You would literally have to murder him for him to treat his players like the NBA treats their players with load management. Yeah. You would have to kill him. He wouldn't do it.
No, he would not. He'd be in his grave like a zombie, just busting out through the dirt. Like, I'm not done yet. I'm not done. They're playing this back-to-back tomorrow, too. 3 nights in a row.
What else do we have, Tyler?
Yeah, a couple more quick stories. The Deontay Johnson saga continues to be a weird one because he now no longer plays for the Houston Texans either. He's been waived after just 2 weeks by the Houston Texans, who, by the way, guys, I don't know if Deontay Johnson or the Texans realize this. They're still playing football. So whatever's going on with the Deontay Johnson saga is a very weird one. His third team this season, obviously started the year with Carolina, was moderately productive with the Panthers, and then gets traded to the Ravens. Basically says, I'm not playing, gets released by them, signs with Houston, talks about how great the organization is, and then 2 weeks later, he gets waived by the Texans. I have no idea what's happening in this Deontay Johnson saga, but it's becoming like this carousel of how many teams can this guy play for in this season.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's happening. He's obviously a bad guy, or people just don't want him around. Because if you're not going to get blacklisted after refusing to go back in a game. Now, the Texans were desperate. They were down. They had no wide receivers left. So they're like, hey, at least this guy has the talent to play in the NFL. Once Nico Collins came back, and once they said, hey, these guys are, or whatever, like he obviously isn't a good guy in the locker room. So he's out. Probably the last time we hear his name, too, other than maybe the World Football League or whatever minor league he joins next. So there you go. Anything else, Tyler?
Yeah, one quick story. I got to throw this in because, I still got my Penn State ties. It looks like most of the Penn State Nittany Lions roster is thinking about running it back next year. Over the last couple of nights, we hear that Nick Singleton and Katron Allen both are going to return to Penn State. Drew Aller, of course, had already made mention that he is going to. He will as well. Denied Dennis Sutton is also going to return. So for those Penn State fans that are clamoring for maybe a return to the playoff after getting a taste of it last year, looks like it's going to be most of the same squad, with the exception of obviously the guys who are seniors or who have announced for the draft, like Tyler Warren has. But most of the team seems to be returning in at least some capacity.
And Carter had said that he wants to, he's going to be a top 5 pick. He had said that his dream would be to play for the Eagles. And then that dope Dove Kleeman puts out there that the Eagles would be unstoppable with him. Yeah, sure. Let Howie trade up into the top 5 to get top 3 to get a defensive end. Yeah, I would love to have him as well. But so then you look through the comments, and every Eagles fan's like, all right, so trade. So a first rounder and a second rounder.
And Huff.
Right. And Willie Green. And you get him.
Hey, Tyler, I need you to back me up on my GoFundMe for Miami trip next year for the season. I'm trying to get down to Miami before the bowl season starts. We are going to Miami.
All right, let's do it. I'll go.
If you put out a GoFundMe, you'd probably get it. A couple things here before we get out of here. Dan Graziano of ESPN, he makes his predictions on who fills the remaining head coach vacancies. And he has the Cowboys hiring Kellen Moore, which makes total sense. Deion Sanders, I don't believe, is going to Dallas. Yeah, like that's just not I don't think it's a smart move for him. I don't think he's going to Dallas. So he said, what's the quote that he has here? My prediction for next Cowboys head coach, Kellen Moore, current Eagles offensive coordinator. Here's what makes sense. Who else are they going to hire? Kellen Moore knows the deal in Dallas. He has a relationship with Jerry Jones.
He'll bend the knee.
Jerry's comfortable because he can do whatever he wants, and Kellen Moore's not going to argue with him. He can go on the radio twice a week. Stephen Jones can go on the radio. They can claim that the salary cap doesn't allow him to do stuff. And Kellen Moore's not I don't think he's going to be a great head coach, but if Dak Prescott can stay healthy, CeeDee Lamb's a great player. They'll win 10 games, 11 games. I think that's actually what's going to happen. Kellen Moore, because I don't think anybody else wants the job.
And then this is where I have a problem with Nick Sirianni being the CEO head coach, because it'll be the 33rd year in a row that Jalen Hurts will have a new offensive play caller, coordinator, and designer. Since Nick doesn't have his own offense to run, this guy's going to have another person in his ear telling him, oh, I like it when you take 2 steps, and it's going to be the whole thing all over again. Kudos to Jalen Hurts for doing it and being productive, but it's just rough every single year having a new OC.
Shout out to everybody that's watching on TV. Head over to allphly.com to catch the rest of the show. You're right. And that's why I think it's at least part of the reason why offensive head coaches are valued, because even if they, like Andy, how many offensive coordinators have Andy Reid been through over the years, right? He's he may not be calling plays all the time now, but it's Andy Reid. He's the one that's doing everything. So you can do that, right? Even if you're not McVay's the one that's calling plays and that's his scheme, but offensive head coaches. And you're right. So everybody wants to with Mike Tomlin. Oh, Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing seasons in 18 years, but he also struggles offensively with these offensive coordinators. They all suck. And he churns through them. Matt Canada this year was Arthur Smith, right? Since Bruce Arians, really, they've struggled to find an offensive coordinator.
And it's the thing of where you hear it, right? So you say Sean McVay. He has an offense coordinator. You know what his name is. Kyle Shanahan, you don't know who his OC is. Andy Reid, the revolving door. Mike Tomlin, you say it's a Mike Tomlin defense. You say it's a Todd Bowles defense. You don't even know who their coordinators are.
There you go. Do. All right, so Black Gritty last thing. All right. Because I'm trying to get back. I waited because I didn't want to be January 1st. Let me get to the gym, New Year's resolution, like every other loser out there, and I've done it before. So I waited to January 15th to do it. That makes me only half of a loser. But I've just been bro, I'm getting up there in age. I have no energy. I'm so tired. I was on a really good run last year where I was working out on a regular basis. I felt good about myself. And then for a lot of different reasons, been going through it over the last couple months, kind of slipped into a depression here a little bit. And so today, I did it last week. I signed up for a class at Orange Theory. Have you ever heard of Orange Theory? They're all over every shopping center in suburban communities.
Orange Theory. The ladies love it.
Do they? Well, because I drive past it a lot. And I'm like, you know what? That's what I need just to kickstart. It's a free class too, by the way. And then they sign you up, whatever. So last week, and they make you put a debit card in. It's free, but if you don't show up, then they charge you $30. So I I registered, put the debit card in, signed. They make you sign a DocuSign or something, and you get that in. So it's the classes today at noon. Scale of 1 to 10. How excited do you think I am today to go to this class in 3 hours from now?
I believe in you, Johnny Marks. I believe in your want to help yourself. I believe that you are an athlete that could be inspired by Philadelphia and that you could go out there and do it. I know right now it's early in the morning. You feel like you're not going to do it. You're going to go home. You're going to look at yourself and say, I need that $30. And you're going to show up to that class and you're going to kick butt. I believe in you, Johnny Marks.
Well, I'm going to, because I'm cheap and I will never flush $30 down the toilet. So I could have pneumonia, and I would be there today. So yes, but it's actually smart that they make you do it, because now I'm definitely. Otherwise, I would not go today. All 3 kids were up, dude, all night. Tyler's got a little girl, a little boy, a little baby at home. I got 3 kids that were up multiple times over.
We've hit the first sleep regression, like the first true sleep regression. Oh my gosh, this kid's up every hour. I feel you.
Well, that's what cracks me up when you're sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm getting older, I'm getting tired." I'm like, no, you've got 92 children at home. I don't care what you think you're going to do to get back this energy. They're zapping it no matter what you do. You could look like Terrell Owens, and I guarantee you these girls going to run you ragged.
Do I need testosterone or something like that? How would I HGH? I'm telling you, I need something. I am dead every day. I'm dead. So I got to get the body moving again. I've been eating like crap. Been eating so much candy and everything else.
That's holiday season.
I know it is, man. And my wife puts a lot of candy in the stockings, and then I end up eating everybody's candy. My kids are like, "Where'd all the Reese's go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I ate them all." The Reese's trees are so good. There's so much more peanut butter in each bite.
They are so much. All those things, like the Easter ones, you're right.
Oh my God,
the proportions are just different, and it is a delectable treat. It's because it tastes like a different kind of candy. It makes it totally different.
They're so good.
Now I want see. Look at you. I didn't have breakfast yet. You out here got me on some Reese's trees.
I ate them all, so there's none at home, so I can't eat anymore. All right, everybody. Black Gritty, good stuff, man. We'll have you on a regular basis. It was good stuff. Appreciate it.
Great time. I'm going to go back to reading my book and making some breakfast. I'm getting my inner excellence up.
And then go to bed. And you go live tonight with Ashworth and E-Rock, right?
That's right. So I'm going to take my nap and get it going. Thanks for everybody watching the Gritty and Marks Wednesday show. That's the new name of it, by the way. I'm just going to.
Did you brand it? That's what it is? Yeah, you don't actually have to have me in the title.
You know, BJ, if that's the case, you're paying for sponsorships. I don't know what the sponsorship is, but whatever keeps the lights on here.
Look, I mean, I'm just saying, if we can get this book up to 5 billion%, I'm just start reading books every week. I mean, we're going to start a book club. We might be like Oprah out this piece because Philadelphia reads, apparently. Philadelphia reads.
That could be the next PHLY podcast. A month, not weekly, monthly. Gritty reads books, except we would read children's books and talk about it.
You guys remember the video of Harry Callis reading the Night Before Christmas?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's gonna be BG reading different books.
I'm not going to do it, but if somebody listening has any kind of time, I just wanted to make a children's book of AJ reads on the sidelines and just do it like Cat in the Hat. AJ reads on the sideline. AJ reads in the shower. AJ reads on the bike. Like just stupidness for Philadelphia. And I guarantee it'd be selling like hotcakes.
Cheap seats tonight at what time, BG?
7 o'clock on PHLY on all the platforms.
Live at 7. You can, of course, watch whenever.
Live at 7.
Yep.
That's right.
All right, BG. Thank you. Shout out to everybody watching live on YouTube that stuck with us. Very vibrant chat today. Appreciate you. You, of course, can watch whenever on YouTube. Follow us, PHLY Sports. Reach out to me on email or socials at Jon, Jon Marks, Marks Media, at Jon Marks Media. Slide into my DMs. They are open. And we will talk to you tomorrow live at 8 a.m. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.